A place near Armoy. I was born and reared. I live about 3 miles on the upper side of Armoy. Daddy would cut peats in those days, or turf, you know, and I maybe went with him in the evening to fork the peats and things like that. It was hard work, but I enjoyed it. My daddy, well, he went to the most, but he was a shoemaker, like that was his job. Life was good, and still is.
My mum, well, she used to work for a farmer, and the house, you know, doing housework and that there. Well, she kept me in my place to start with, and she done a hell of a lot of work for us. There were 6 of a family. She just hadn't ever had to eat herself.
That's my granny. That's your mother, Sadie. And you're saying there she was a good knitter, and she did a little bit of everything and taught me how to knit. She taught you how to knit jumpers with mittens and dummy strings. Do you remember those?
Well, my mother was just what a mother is, doing all the housework and all the different things. She done a lot of baking in the house. I liked soup and broth and different things like that. Anything at all she made, I mean, I liked it. Mother, I am now in Rosecourt Nursing Home being looked after, and I miss you so, so much, but I hope one day we shall meet in heaven and spend the rest of our lives loving each other, your loving daughter Ellen. First class, a real good mother. She was.
A good big plate of soup there, and I wanted him, he couldn't bear it. Well, see, we lived away in the country. We lived 5 miles, 6 miles out in the country. I suppose around Christmas time or Easter time and that there, you know. A special meal. Oh, she was a good woman. There's none better.
She always had the big table sets.
There's none better.
She knit all our clothes, all our jumpers, and she made all our clothes. And when I was a child, I used to say, Mummy, would you not just buy me a dress instead of making me something? Would you not just buy it? And I used to go to school dances and things. I always had to have a dress made for me.
Memories brought back. What a nice photo. Nearly my mother and sister, age did not count.
Least we forget a sergeant on once was now I remembered.
That's your poem that you have in your room.
Oh, they gathered quite a few pints of milk, didn't they, them hands?
Aye. Didn't hear that.
Hail, rain or snow, they could always guaranteed on Daddy. And if he didn't have it, he'd have went and got it for them. Didn't they?
Oh, that's really good or bad.
We're all happy days, those. We're a happy family. Our family's a good family and just did everything for each other. And I had only one brother. He was a year and a half older than me. And he called me a leg. A big leg. Because he was a blue-eyed boy, you know, and I was always a active full leg.
And then who's this lovely boy here?
Tell him. Yeah.
Keith and his brother. And then pictures from the army. Are those your army boots?
Aye.
That's how long you served in the army.
That one, every time you go through there, there's a bus.
Wait a minute, do you recognise that these are your brothers? Do you remember how many brothers you had? You remember your brothers? You had Billy.
They're not all there, are they?
No, they're not all there. You had Billy, and Billy's not there. And that was Ian. And then there was George, and George isn't there because George was in Australia from when he was young. And then you had Jimmy and Derek, they were the twins. And Ronnie, he was the youngest.
That's right.
So you had 6 brothers altogether, and you were the only girl. Did they give you a hard time?
No, really?
Not really.
I was 22 years.
You used to say to me, they always played cowboys and Indians, and you always had to be the Indian. Well, I would say she held her own with them. 2 of your brothers are in Australia, aren't they? And George, he came over here just before Christmas. It was a big journey because George is now 83 and he came over to visit my mum here in the home. And do you remember you had a lovely tea and all downstairs when he came over?
I'm the only one left. And of course all the others was old before I was born, sort of. So I could only tell you bits and pieces what I heard, you know. Good family. Yeah, you couldn't be mistaken with them. One of them played the piano. They got on all right together. And I was the youngest. They were older than me. They're what brothers and sisters do. They take you up to the park or somewhere like that. Or take you out the street to play marbles. Rounders, you know. I know we shouldn't have done, but we did. And made sure we didn't lock the people's windows and that. But it was fun.
2009, Alice, I want a passport. And I said, what for? Where are you going? And she says, I don't know, I just want a passport. And we got her a passport. And the next thing she says is, I'm going to visit Jimmy and George in Australia. And off she set, and she was there for 3 months. And that was the first time she was ever on an aeroplane. And she flew to Australia. Do you remember that? You had a great time, didn't you? And they treated her like a queen.
It was just the excitement of it.
It was very exciting.
Very exciting.
And you met all the family, all the extended family. She flew herself. Yeah, well, there was another friend of Jimmy and Sheena's had always wanted to visit, so the two of them went together. It was Faye, do you remember Faye? You and Faye went over.
We just went to dances, went to pictures. We went to what they call a Troxy. The plaza, that's right. The Floral Hall. We had a good old time there. We're there every Saturday night. And just the usual, boys and waiting on you and boys not waiting on you when it should be waiting on you. And boys that I went to, said I'd go to, didn't go, and said the next day I did. Oh, I was there, but you weren't.
Well, I went to everything that was on. I loved dancing. I went to a lot of dances. And still would. There was a place up the road just above us. It was Lavin. If ever you heard tell of Lavin, they had a hall and we went to a lot there. And maybe some round the bush side. It wasn't too far away from me either. Anywhere there was a dance, I would have went to it. We danced quick steps, foxtrots, and barn dances, waltzes, all types. I think it was partly in me maybe. My daddy was a great dancer in his years. He loved dancing too. So maybe I took it from him. So long as I got up on the floor, I didn't care what the music was like. We never had to sit in the dances. Glad to say. If I'd have met you to dance, maybe I would have got a dance from you. Toasting in the air with my good friend David, many nights dancing together.
Is that all you're going to say about it?
Well.
I went out to dances an odd time, but just talking to people. Ones that I knew through them, and they were all right, I was all right, and that was all I went for. If you wanted anything, and I would help you with it if we could.
My girlfriends, which most girls did, when it come ladies' choice, they always picked the best good-looking fella. But Dot didn't do that. She looked for the wee tiny man. My girlfriend, she said to me, do you go and take them wee men for take those wee men? I says, well, and Monday morning whenever they go to work, they said, would you a good time of the weekend? Oh, I was dancing with the blonde. Right.
That's the wife there, that's where I got hooked. She was travelling the bus and I was the conductor, taking her fare, and she fancied me, I think, we got to.
What are you going to show?
I'm going to show this here.
Oh yes, who's that?
That's my husband, the best man in this world. Best man in this world. All of you are gone. Every one of you are gone.
1954.
Yes.
50 years of marriage.
My husband, best man in the whole world. He was. He was the best man. I tell you, everybody has him, everybody has the best man in the world. But Norman was my Norman. But him and I was most natured in their life. I never had a row with him, not a fight with him. Not one in a easy wee fight with him all the years I was married to him. There was never anything I didn't want to do or he did. He just put it at me.
Well, that cat was a real friend of mine. I loved cats. I liked all animals, but I liked the cats. And as I say, it's the sign of an old maid. So it is so far.
Oh, it was interesting, very interesting. You met different type of people, you know, all classes of people. You work shift work, then 3 to 11 next week, then you're 11 to 7. Oh, I would go and say, Dungiven, Londonderry, Belfast, nearly all round.
We lived together as next door neighbours. We were young kids, and then after a while he moved away, years after it, and I was at the plaza, and he came over and lifted me, and he says to me, Miss Fleming, I presume. He left me home, and of course I said I would see him again, and I didn't do it. I let him down.
I used to be a machinist, but now I am retired.
Oh, we went to Pentrush and we all stayed in the one boarding house.
I used to have tossed hair, right? Wind tossed hair, right, Hayley? But now I have permed hair.
Rainy Sunday, I had with a friend. I went there and we ended up with football match. We all just kicked football in the rain. Well, there was fireworks and Thursday night, so said it would see us on Thursday night. I thought I'd make myself a dress, and it was a white background with big spots about that over it that day. Well, there's about 10 of them that were to see. It was a bit funny, but when we went there was only 2. Only 2 showed up. Well, one of them was James.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Jean is still my friend. Or I like to think so, anyway. She's still my friend. And we talk to one another. And if you say anything to her, you don't, it's very rare you hear it back. She got lovely silver-coloured hair. We talk to one another and we get on all right. Well, I like to think we do.
We had a fishery too in the River Row. We fished for salmon and sold them to the fishmonger in Londonderry. It was hard work, believe you me, because you had to go by the tide. You know, when the tide was going out with the time, you had to work, and that was time most of the time, 50% of the time was night work. My father's my brother. There was 6 of us.
Well, we went out to Giant's Causeway and burnt very badly. That night the lady says, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to put buttermilk in your arms. I went to bed with the buttermilk. But not him.
When we come out from the party that night, we couldn't get our bikes up nor down. We looked everywhere for our bikes. And some of the men folk out of the hall said they would walk up the road with us, we might get them, you know, along the road. And somebody happened to look up, and her 2 bicycles was hanging away up to a tree. Oh, we knew rightly who done it. And they were lying out about the ditch listening to hear Kathleen, and as I say, it wasn't the Lord's Prayer.
Diddle 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 diddle. Yeah, shut him. Go on.
Was this the army?
Oh, this is a picture of Keith's parents.
Cha.
Yes. What was your father's name?
Fred.
And all your dried flower arrangements, do you remember? I think there's a picture in here with you. You're surrounded by all your dried flowers somewhere. She used to sell dried flower arrangements. There was 2 or 3 people who wanted dried flowers, silk flowers for their weddings, so she would have done them bouquets of silk flowers and stuff for their weddings. And
Whose wedding was that?
I'm not sure.
Gary's.
Could be Gary's.
And who's this boy?
I don't know who he is anyway.
You all looked so well that day.
It was a big day.
But no, that was a good day, that wedding, wasn't it, Gary? And Kathy's wedding. And Ernie and Margaret up.
Your daughter with your beret on from your uniform.
That's a army boot.
Yes.
What's it say?
It says Sergeant Char, Royal Army Ordnance, February 1958 to September 1977. His daughter still takes him to all the events that are organized by the army, like for Remembrance Day, and he is so proud of putting his uniform on and all his badges and everything he still has from the army. And he's so happy when people recognize him and come and talk to him.
She was the best daughter in the world. I had 2 good children, a wee boy and a wee girl. And we had a good life, a lot of us really. You know, my mum used to say, what is your mother, whenever the kids were small, he said, Daddy, take us to such as the zoo, took us there, where does your mother want to go? And I maybe didn't want to, maybe they wanted to go to the baths like, for a swim. And I didn't go in with them, like, but I didn't want to go there anyway. And he used to say, where does your mother want to go? And here's me, where do you want to go? Go to the baths, go to the baths. Oh, I want to go to the baths, see how they're getting on there.
If you want anything and we would help you with it, we could.
It's a good old place, you know, this. It is indeed. Everybody's awful nice.
Oh, I'm brainier than I thought.
But I had a good life.
Just go out and be happy and enjoy yourself.
Thanks for all the good times.